Hi everybody. Boy, it's a real pretty day here in Iowa on a Saturday. I can't believe a week ago we had 3 inches of snow on the grounds here. So we're going to go ahead and take this out today. I've not used this before, so we're going to learn together on how this works. Had a lot of questions and comments about can't wait to see it in action, so we're going to take it out today and try it out. On last week's video I showed you that it came completely assembled except for this center bar here. I put that on, and really that's the only assembly there was to do. Now a couple other things I want to point out is this hooks up to your John Deere connecting point. I don't know if you can hear the cats or not, but the cats are, it's springtime, that's all I'll say. So this uses the bucket controls. I'm going to demonstrate that here in a minute. But this bottom jaw floats, that's what I wanted to point out. Now these float independently, and the reason for that is that if a tree is wide at the base and narrower at the top, then it's going to grab the wide base and get tighter at the top of the tree. I greased everything up. There's 4 grease zerks, as you can see. That's all ready to go. Another thing I wanted to point out is note that the top of this grapple is notched to hold in the trees and the bottom isn't. So when you release your load, then things are going to fall out. The real early models, I was told, had notch teeth down here, and they changed that, so it's nice. They're listening to their customers. One other thing, right here, this is adjustable. All right, this is going to change how far that jaw opens up. So right now it's set up for the biggest bite. If I move these bolts up, then I would move that like this, extending this out, and then I would have a smaller bite. But right now I have it set up on the largest bite. And one final thing I wanted to show you was when you pick this up, then it comes against your lift arm right here. A square stock comes across this flat spot right here, and some people have concerns that that may bend. I don't know where abuse starts and ends. I think under my daily operation I'm not going to have any problem with this. This is going to do a real good job on my property for picking up brush, trees. So let's get started.
You know, I'm real jealous of everyone who has so much level land in other parts of the country. I don't have very much. Everything I have is sloping one direction or the other, and that's the case here. So as I'm coming forward to pick this tree up, I'm keeping that in mind. This is a long tree, and you're going to see that here in a few minutes. So I'm just taking my time. I'm getting the feel of that control lever, and I'm just squeezing that top jaw closed. The bottom jaw doesn't do anything. So the top jaw comes down, pinches that tree, and then I can lift it up. It clamps it in, and I'm good to go. Now the tree's a little bit too long here, so I'm going to stop here in a minute, get out and lop a few feet off so I can get around some other trees in my my property sign there. That's going to be a fun video to show you someday. So this is really nice how you can just put a tree at a comfortable height, chainsaw it up, and I sure like that, keeping my chain out of the dirt. So once I got it down to size, look, it's a pretty good sized tree. A viewer once told me, be sure and keep your weight even on your cylinders on your bucket, and I've got that in mind here also. Hey, let's take a look at the fun meter. You haven't seen that in a while. Here it is showing how much fun we're having. Quite a bit today. Real happy there. It's almost pegged. So my whole thought here is bring the tree to the wood pile rather than cut all the firewood up and put it in a bucket and bring it to the wood pile. I thought I'll just bring the tree to the wood pile, and it's working out just fine. I should have cut that log up there in half because the grapples are separate and let you get in there. I'll show you that later. So I went back and got that tree that I lopped off there, and there it kind of rolls off real nice. I'll cut that up later. Then we have to get out in the pond. Over the winter, a big branch fell off. And look at the slope on the grade down here. Everywhere I go, I've always got to be worried about my slope. So my goal here is I'm just going to lift it up and get it up to waist high so I can chop it up and make it a little bit smaller. I'm not comfortable with that long a tree on that big a slope. So I cut it up, and what I wanted to demonstrate here is it's kind of nice. You can cut it in between those two grapples. And then I could have chopped those up also. So this brush pile is 50 feet from there. So this is my first attempt into a brush pile. I'm just getting a feel of how the grapple works, how the dump control squeezes that top closed and pinches all that debris in there. And I'm just going to kind of bulldozer my way into this brush pile and push it back a little bit. I should have grabbed a big grapple full of it and lifted it up and demonstrated how well it was going to do that. It'd be nice to turn this pile over, probably speed up the decay on that, I would think. So I'm just playing around with it here, just getting the feel and trying to remember, okay, the top jaw comes down and pinches. So here I was trying to glide the bottom jaw across the ground. But what I'm reminded of is those amusement games where you get the grapple and it goes out and drops down on a teddy bear or some gift, and then you pick it up and drop it off. It seems like you want to bring the grapple in on the top of your debris or your brush, pinch it, and then pick it up. I've got to play with this. I've only been doing this now for maybe an hour. And so I've got, I'll learn this technique here a few times out. Basically, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just having some fun, getting the feel of it and seeing how well it pushes up in there. That little 1025 is a real bulldozer sometimes, the way it'll push things around it. You know, I got the backhoe on there. I didn't point that out. That was intentional. I wanted a lot of counterbalance for my first time out. So I went back and see how I'm getting on top of that log a little bit, like that amusement idea I was telling you about, that description. See, I brought the grapple down on top of it more than trying to slide under it, and picked it right up and brought it over here to the brush pile. Now this is just a little different feeling. I went and I said, okay, dump the bucket. But oh yeah, the top comes up, then you lower the lift boom there, and then it rolls off. Well, I've got piles and piles of logs and debris and brush around my property, and I'm excited to pull that all out and get that into a place where I can grind it up. I never did get back to the original pile and logs that I showed you last week on my first video. This summer I want to tear that gazebo down, so I hope that the grapple will allow me to pick up some of that construction debris in big chunks and get it off in the disposal container. Hey, that's all I've got, everybody. Thanks so much for watching my videos and seeing what I'm doing out here in Iowa. I really appreciate it. Have a good week, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.